purpose.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah, this is so cool, Alex. We feel so privileged that you're showing this. I hope the Stash fam are appreciating. You got the legend Alex Sinclair coloring live for us right now, which is awesome. I really love this. We wanted to take time because this is our first Six Slayer show in a while, and we feel that we're one of the preeminent signature collectors in the whole planet. And so we just wanted to show you our top 5 Alex Sinclair Superman and Batman books. This one here signed by a bunch of people. I love this torpedo one. This one you mentioned the Superman for Tomorrow. This kind of reminds me of that in a way, but it's with the laser vision.
Yeah.
I really think this is one of the cooler Superman covers ever. And then I got this lenticular cover of Superman Unchained.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
I really love that. Chris and I both have this, obviously. This was signed by everyone, including Richard Starkings. And then Another World's Finest. This is like actually the first like version cover that DC came out with, and I really like that.
That's correct.
And then Batman, just wanted to show you this. This just came in. A friend of ours on Instagram told me this. This was available, and I hopped on it. I just got this.
Oh, cool.
I got it in the mail yesterday. So this is just honorable mention. Landscape, Detective Comics signed by a slew of people. I really love this David Finch. This is probably the one Jim Lee cover, but I love this David Finch cover. You and Finch and everybody else is on that. Be remiss to not throw in my 608 5 times signed by everybody. And then I'm a huge Batman fan. And here's another one, Under the Hood.
Oh, cool.
This one, I really love Matt Wagner, Doug Monkey. I love this story. And then, here we go. Chris, can I get a drum roll, please? Boom. Okay, this one here. The reason why I'm showing this, I really love this one. This is probably one of my favorite Jim Lee covers, but the reason why I'm showing you this one is we have something called Bastard Books, okay? Are you a fan of Game of Thrones? Have you seen Game of Thrones? And you have like Jon Snow and all the bastards, right? Well, this is a book that gets signed and something gets screwed up on it. So it goes into the orphanage. And so if you can see Jim Lee's thumbprint, he signed it, and it's so if he ever has any kind of thumbprint kind of security, I can use it.
You're in.
I'm in, right?
Yeah.
Right. But why this hurts is this is signed by you, Scott Snyder, Jim Chung, like everybody that's involved with this particular issue, and then he was the last one to sign it, and then boom. So this is our second edition of Bastard Books. Okay, I have to put the great Alex Sinclair on there, and I keep it. I keep it anyway because I love it. But I would not be who I am if I didn't have a replacement. Bam. Okay, so there it is. So here's the other one, but I don't have all the other guys on there. I have, you, Jim, and Scott. And so at some point, hopefully in the future, I can get Scott Snyder on this as well as Jim Chung. So we just wanted to show you how much we're down with Alex Sinclair.
You would think that the one with the thumbprint would be worth more because it's the thumbprint. I mean, it's more authentic than the signature, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I kept it. And I have, like, over the course of a year, we get hundreds of books signed at conventions, and there's always outtakes like this. And so I have a short box called The Orphanage or The Night's Watch, where all the bastards go.
You've worked with Frank Miller, Ivan Reis, Doug Monkey, John Romita Jr. Is there an artist out there that you haven't worked with yet that you're like, just itching to collaborate with in the future?
Oh, there's actually a few. I would love, and obviously most of these names are folks who aren't exclusive to DC or work for Marvel, and because of my exclusive contract, which incidentally I'm no longer under, I haven't been able to work with. And so Alan Davis, Adam Hughes. I mean, obviously Adam colors himself, and no one colors Adam better than Adam. And Mignola is another person who I'd love to work, but obviously Dave and Matt do great work with him already. And then some of the names, the new young guys that are coming in, Jorge Jimenez, who is I think he's such an amazing artist. He's super talented, and he's bringing a new feel and look to comics. And I think it'd be great to work with someone like that. And from then on, I've done a ton of work with Andy Kubert. I'd love to work with Adam. And so, like I said, a lot of the names are names that I'd love to work with on like a continuous kind of a thing. Humberto Ramos, I've done a couple pieces with, but I'd love to get on a couple issues of anything with him, because we're close friends too. We respect each other, and we have the Mexican connection together, and so it'd be great to kind of get with him and do something together at some point.
I know Chris is licking his chops because you said Adam Kubert. I'm probably stealing this line from him right now. Chris is a big Wolverine fan. He would blow his gasket if you worked with Adam Kubert on a Wolverine book.
Oh my! I was thinking him, or of the new people, Jason Fabok. If I could see you color something by him, oh my gosh!
So I worked with Jason. We did Justice League versus Suicide Squad together, and he also did an issue of The Man of Steel with Brian Bendis. He did issue 5, the last one. So yep. I've gotten to work with him on and off, and so he's fun to work with. Having worked with Finch and then with him, I can see that the similarities between the two and what one carries from the other, and so it's been kind of fun to work with both Finch and Fabok and see the uniqueness and the similarities that they each has.
Well, we know you're one of the hardest working guys in comics. Like literally, there's so many covers, books out there that it would take years to collect every issue you've ever worked on. But we want to know, do you still read comics, and do you even have time to read comics? And if you are, what are you reading?
So a lot of the stuff, most of the work that I read for what I color is script. So I read a lot of comics in script form. But every now and then a book comes out that I want to read or I want to give it a look. So like Batcat just came out, #1, and we did a cover for it. So I got an advanced copy of it, and it's a wonderful read. I'm a huge Tom King fan and have read Mr. Miracle and a lot of the other books that are out there that he's written. And so I enjoy reading his work. I'm a big Terry Dodson fan, and so I just got a copy of his graphic novel that I'm going to sit down and read, and it's a nice, big, fat, meaty book, and I like reading those gigantic books because I feel like a kid again, flipping through the book that's too big to hold. So I do when I can read here and there. It's also I work in comics all day. The last thing I want to do is read a comic at the end of the day. But like I said, some of those that are out there are great. I love Kurt Busiek, and anything that he writes, I will read. Okay.
We follow you on social media a lot, and it seems like you're a huge coffee guy, right? You're a huge coffee guy. You're a big coffee guy. Okay, so here's a double. Here it is.
My baby.
So here's
spend more time with her than my wife.
So, all right. How many cups of coffee you drink a day, and what brand do you drink? Is it some like sexy import from like the Galapagos Islands or something like that?
That's right, Galapagos Black. That's my coffee color. I usually drink about 2 cups of coffee in the morning, and then halfway through the day, I actually switch it up. I have stuff like this, so this is like caffeinated. It's fine. It's healthy. There's no sugar in it, so I try and watch that. Coffee. The Nespresso brand is what I drink and use a lot, and what's great about it is that it doesn't have to be coffee every time. It can be a latte, a mocha, and so I use creamers and stuff like that to change things up. I just discovered this stuff called Brew Bike. It's a cold brew it's kind of like a tea bag full of coffee, and you drop it into like they have a cool little mason jar that you put it in, and you brew it 12 hours.
Oh wow!
It's super tasty. It's a company that was started by Northwestern University students, and so it's student-owned, student-run, and they branched out to 2 or 3 other universities, and so it supports college students, and then they have like a scholarship kind of program that they have. So I'm happy to support a company like that, especially when they create a product that's really delicious too. So it's called Brew Bike, and I recommend them in that it's just I like I said, change it up. So, do this. I have like protein powder that's got coffee in it too for the days after the workout that I still need the kicker.
You got coffee snacks. It's all good.
Coffee snacks, yeah. And then, every now and then we'll walk the dogs to Starbucks and have a...
Of course you do. With your Starbucks shirts, hopefully.
Support the empire, yeah.
So Alex, obviously this year, we would have loved to have seen you in person. Honestly, we would have probably seen you 3-4 times by this time. And so we want to know, what are you doing to keep yourself sane being stuck in the house?
It's crazy. Having worked from home, I was already kind of used to trying to create things for myself. I used to go to the gym, and so when the gyms got shut down, we started kind of buying equipment to create a home gym, and so we have a pretty nice setup, and so working out there. I also went back to coaching. I used to coach soccer at a competitive level, and one of the teams, the coach had to move because he couldn't find work here and he had to move out of state, and the coaching director called me and asked me if I would take over one of the teams, and I did, and it became a social outlet for me. And they're 14, 15-year-old girls, but it's still a social outlet for me. I have 4 daughters, so I cool to kind of hang out and chat with girls, and it reminds me of when I coached my daughters and stuff like that. So it's a fun outlet and gets me out.
So we recently got to interview another prestigious color artist, David Barron. We brought him up earlier. He truly treasures his time at Wildstorm. He talked about it so fondly that we had to bring it up, and we wanted to ask you a crazy question.
It's all lies.
We want to know, was there at any point a time that you pretended to be his dad so he could get into bars and hang out with you guys?
It was his uncle, but yeah.
He said that.
I'm not that old.
He said that too.
Oh my goodness.
It was funny because we would have these Friday nights. We'd go like, hey, let's go across the street. And there was like a Hard Rock across the street from the studio. And there was what was that place called? Moondoggies? You don't think about these things until they actually happen. So we're walking in and somebody goes, hey, is he old enough to be in here? And I just kind of look back. I was like, oh yeah, he's with me. And I just kind of like shove him and we're like, don't drink anything.
How do you look back on your Wildstorm times?
Being at the studio is probably some of my favorite work experiences. Being in a room with the talent that was in there at the time is, you don't realize what it is until you look back on it like this. As it was happening, I think we were all young. We were all just kind of in the moment. We were also all under like crazy deadlines, so we didn't really kind of stop and smell the roses. But I came in to the studio. J. Scott Campbell had been there for 2 weeks. Alex Gardner had been there for a month. Brett Booth had been there for a month. And so that kind of generation that I came into with Homage Studios and eventually Wildstorm was such a cool thing, because you're in a building where if you are not in the mood to draw, paint, ink, all you have to do is get up and do a lap and see what everybody else is doing, and sometimes you get up and do a lap because you're just curious. It's like, oh man, I wonder what he's drawing today. I wonder what's going on over here today. So this environment that Jim built at Wildstorm, it's incredible, because you look at the names that came out of there, and the talent that he recognized at such a early stage. I remember when Carlos Diana and Lee Bermejo came in, and I was like, who are these punks? but you see the rawness and the talent and how they just harness it and embrace it and just do the best they can with it. Now you look at Lee and Carlos's work, and it's some of the best stuff out there. And you can say, ooh, I knew them back then when they were looking over everybody's shoulders, wondering how to draw and what they could do.
What are your professional plans as we head into 2021 that you can share with us?
Well, the big news is that I'm not exclusive with DC right now. My contract ran out, and as we were in talks for me to resign, we realized that there wasn't a lot of work lined up for me within DC. So I didn't want to sign a contract into and not have work to do. So kind of paint myself into a corner that I couldn't get any work out of. And so we decided that it was probably best if we held off on anything, and I was just gonna try things out in the wild. And so going into 2021, there's a lot of kind of question marks, because I've reached out to different companies and in the process of kind of talking about what we can do and what we should do, and talking with names. And then the one thing I can definitely talk about is Astro City. Astro City's coming back.
Oh wow!
Next year.
Nice.
So I will be working on Astro City with Kurt Busiek and Brent Anderson again.
Awesome. Can you please come to Marvel or Image, please? Let's go.
I can say that I've reached out to both companies, and so it's just a matter of kind of finding something that we can work on. Like I said, there's so many characters that I love, that I read, and artists that I love and would work with. That hopefully the possibilities are endless, and something we can nail something down. And so that's kind of the thing for me. One of the things I see is like my commission list might actually open up finally, and we'll see if folks are open for doing something like that. I have a couple of tricks under my sleeve that I might have to whip out. And
awesome. Well, lastly, and because you're such a veteran in the game, and there's a lot of aspiring artists that really respect you and want to be where you're at right now. So is there any words of wisdom that you would like to share to inspiring artists?
Well, if you want to be an artist, you need to practice. I mean, draw every day. Even if it's a half hour, draw every day, right? It is really daunting how easily you lose the muscle memory. It takes less time to lose it than it is to kind of keep it up. And so draw every day. Even if you want to be a colorist, you have to know how to draw. If you want to be an inker, you have to know how to draw. You have to be a well-rounded artist to be able to do all of the above. And so try everything out. Try pencils, try inks, try colors, because doing penciling will make you a better colorist. Coloring will make you a better penciler and inker, et cetera. And then, be sure that you focus on the specialty that you're trying for that day, so that if you're going to color someone else's work, that way you can focus on just the colors. All right, if you're going to ink someone else's pencils, because you can focus just on the inks, right? Because inking is about interpreting pencils, and if you're going to pencil something in ink, you're creating shortcuts for yourself at the pencil stage that you want to cover in the ink stage, that if you're inking someone else, that penciler is not going to create those shortcuts for you. Right. So you have to be able to do that. So in a world where those, the specialties, ideally you're only doing one part of the three, and you're working over someone else or in anticipation of someone else. You definitely need to focus on that one specialty. So work on someone else's pencils, work on someone else's pencils and inks. And then if you can, and if you have that luxury, pencil something and pass it off for someone else to ink. Because when you get back those inks, it's going to teach you what you're doing at the pencil stage that isn't being read well, and the stuff that is being read well by the inker. And so you change, you adapt, you improve.
Well, there you have it, Stash fam. Wisdom from the great Alex Sinclair. Alex, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Chris, let's make some noise, please.
Woo! Thank you.
I mean, he did a demo for us, man. We hope you can come back again.
It'd be my pleasure.
We really, really, really appreciate this opportunity with us. So we want to thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm happy to come back anytime. Yeah, if you can introduce me the way you introduced me today, I'll be back any day.
I knew you were going to love that. I told Mike earlier.
Well, that's all for our show. If you like what you see, please subscribe and hit the like button. Check out some of our other shows. We're the Stash Bros. I'm Mike, speaking for Chris. We're out. Peace!